Okay, so yesterday's class we were learning about objectives of price policy. Here, the first 3 points were regarding the profit. So, once you keep a proper price to the product, the profit of the company and the profit that you receive from the particular product also increases. So, that was profit maximization. Then, price stabilization, seeing the situation in the market, you have to stabilize the price and make sure people buy the products at some reasonable price. Do not The companies are not supposed to keep too much of price or too less of price. Okay, there is one act or one rule given by government called Competition Act. Okay, there it clearly talks about how much pricing or how the price should be decided for each of the product. And then there is facing competitive situation. Whenever there is competition with the same prices what is prevailing for the product, you should face the competition, making sure that the quality of the products and the offers or other types of discounts that you give, that should stand out. So that is one way of facing the competition. The other way is by increasing the marketing. You make sure, or the company make sure that the product is known to every person. Then only they will be able to buy. If there is no awareness of the product, then facing the competition is very very difficult, because we does not have scope for the product to be sold to people at large. So that is facing competitive situations. So those were the first 3 points which we learned. Then the next 3 points were penetration into market, achieving a target return, and ability to pay. So we are getting into the market. Penetration is slowly getting into the market. Now, in penetration, there are many types of it. We will be learning after the objectives. Now, few of the products will be sold at a high price first, and then they will slowly reduce the price. And few of the products will start from a very low price, and then they will increase the price. So these are few techniques or ways where they get into the market. So the main intention is the product must be sold. No matter you keep high price, low price, the product must be sold. So once the products are selling, which means we are also into the market. Then achieving a target return, we would have kept some percentage of profit, as our uh, margin. Okay, let's say for example, in the first year when we started business, we kept a profit percentage as 1%. Okay, 1% is also more, because the profit we cannot expect in first year of business. So achieving the target return, so if we achieve that 1% of the profit in the first year, which means we have actually done a good job. So it is very very difficult to achieve the target return, especially now in situations like COVID. Now you can see there are no more shops which are open, only essentials are open. Other businesses is not happening, so target returns will not come into picture at all. So that is achieving the target return. Then ability to pay. Now customers also should be able to pay the price, and then the company also should be able to get their profit. So that is ability to pay. So both the parties are at win-win situation. So that was the second set of points. Now the last set of points is maintenance of market share, capturing the market, entering into new markets. Now maintaining of market share means, let's take for example soap powders. Okay, detergent powders. Now you can see there are so many varieties of detergent powders that are there. Okay, you have liquid as well as normal powder. Now if you take powders, you have brands like Tide, Wheel, Nirma, then you have Gadi, Triple X, Surf Excel, Rin. to name a few, these were only few. There are many more products which you can see, many more brands which you can see in the market. Now, out of these so many brands, let's just take for example, there is Surf Excel, there is Nirma, then there is Tide, then after that Rin, okay, then you have Gadi, Wheel. Okay, these are few, 1 2 3 4 5 6. I've taken 6 brands as the example. Now, maintaining of market share means how many customers are preferring Surf Excel, how many customers are preferring Nirma, how many are preferring Tide. So let's take, or let's say there are 100 customers, just an example. Okay, our sample is 100. Out of 100 customers, if 45 of them are preferring Surf Excel, Nirma there are only 2 who are preferring, Tide there are only 5, Rin let's say 20, okay, then you have Gadi, that is somewhere around 10, okay, 10, 35, 37, then rest of it there are preferring the last brand. Now let's say this is only 5, okay, the other miscellaneous other brands are there that they are preferring. Now out of 100, if you see, the more of concentration is put on Surf Excel, right? Because 45 customers are preferring Surf Excel, they have used the product and they're satisfied with the product, which means they have captured 45% of the market when it comes to the soap powders. Okay, when it comes to soap powders, 45% of the market is being captured by Surf Excel. That is what this example says. Like that, apart from capturing 45% of the market, Surf Excel has to maintain the same thing throughout. You also have Ariel. Okay, Ariel also has good amount of market capturing. Okay, so Surf Excel, if it is taking 45% of the market, it has to maintain within that range only, 40 to 45 only. The percentage should not vary too much, but it has to be 40 to 45 only. So this is maintenance of market share. So customer preferences plays a major role here. That is why for every company, customer is the god. Whatever customer wants or needs, that has to be sufficed by the companies. Then capturing the market. Now Surf Excel has entered India. Now throughout India, Surf Excel is being sold. Suppose in one state of India, Surf Excel is not much famous. Okay, they prefer, let's say they prefer using Wheel. Okay, they prefer using Wheel in that state, everybody. So now Surf Excel will check on their map and see, okay, one state in India is not using our product. There are very few customers. Now they will go to that particular state, do some research, and they will give more offers. Okay, they'll give more offers to that particular state, wherein their customers will increase. Now what sort of offers they might give? Let's take for example, now Surf Excel will say buy 2 kg get 2 kg free. Okay, buy 2 kg get 2 kg free. But Wheel is not giving any sorts of offer, because Wheel is affordable to every level of income customers. Okay, they have make sure that Wheel can give its services, or the product can be purchased by every income level people. So Surf Excel is giving this offer. Now many of them who were purchasing Wheel would now stop purchasing Wheel and shift to Surf Excel. Why? When you take collectively this offer, 1 kg price of the powder will be low. First thing, you are paying less for the powder. Second thing, you are getting more quantity. If you see here, you get 4 kgs. Okay, you get 4 kgs together. So many of them who were purchasing wheel now can shift to Surf Excel. So now I'm capturing the market. Okay, I am capturing the market which was not concentrated before. So that is capturing of the market. Now here, what did I do? I concentrated on price, where I gave them more quantity for less price. So that attracted the customers and make sure they bought my product. Then the next point, entry into new markets. Now this was India. India is not a new market for them. They are all happy. They introduced, everybody is using soap powder, everything is fine. Now, apart from India, let's take for example Bangladesh, a small country next to India. Now in Bangladesh, suppose the same Surf Excel was not introduced. Okay, same Surf Excel was not introduced. So that is a new market, okay, where they have not entered the country at all, and they have to check how the customers are there is enough research to be done. Yeah, they have to know what the customer requires, what are their demands, how they see the product. All that has to be first researched upon, and then only they can enter into the new market. So I can still give an example of your McDonald's and Subway and all your burgers, that is Burger King, KFC, everything. So when first it was started in US, few were started in US and few were started in UK. Okay, now what they did was, these Western countries, okay, when they wanted to get these companies to India, okay, for it was a new market. India was a new market. Now in India, when they had to get these fast food, they have to come and do enough research, stating what are the eating habits of the customers here. Then they will have to prepare the products in line with that only, and then sell it here. So they are entering new markets. I'm not saying the present scenario. This is way before, when McDonald's or your Subway, everything was supposed to come, or even your Starbucks. Okay, Starbucks also, that's a normal coffee shop in the other countries, but in India, if you see Starbucks, it's like a very luxury coffee shop for us. So entering into the new markets, how much are they able to reach to the customers, and are customers happy with the product? All that again depends on the price that we keep for each product. Now one coffee, people are ready to buy 500 rupees for one coffee, and they are ready to drink the coffee. They will give one more than half liter of the liquid will be there in that. So people are ready to buy coffee at such luxurious price also. So that is why those such companies enter into India and also do business. Then that is the entry into the new markets. You would have, if you have seen, there is another product called bubble tea. Okay, that's not very much famous, but it's there in many places. There are outlets in many places. Now these are also certain products which have entered new into India and are prevailing or doing business in India. So these are the objectives of price policy. Very important 14 marks question. I hope everybody understood. Any doubts in this objectives? Anybody has doubts in the objectives? You can leave it in chat so I can explain. Okay. So let's go to the next. Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Everybody understood. So let's go to the next concept. Okay, so these slides are explaining the objectives of price policy. You can go through these things. I will be sharing it on the group. Okay, the same thing. Now, next, influencing factors for retail pricing. Another important 14 marks question from this chapter, from the examination point of view. Okay, so what are the factors that will influence the retail pricing? How should we decide how to decide the price of a product? Let's say for example, let's take Apple products. Okay, all Apple products. Now iPhone, when they introduce iPhone, why is that the amount or the price of the iPhone so high? Okay, there are certain factors which they consider when they are deciding the price. It's not that just like that they keep the price for it. So they will see a lot of factors when they decide the price. Now in these factors there are two types. One is external factors, one is internal factors. Now external factors are nothing but outside economy, market, customers, or condition in the economy, a condition in the country, in which place are we selling the product. All this will be the outside factors. Okay, when it comes to inside factors, it will be the manufacturing cost, how my employees are working. Okay, within when or within how many days am I giving the product out, how are my sales going on. These all will be the internal factors. So we will see external factors as well as internal factors, also taking along with few examples. Okay, so first are external factors, that is outside factors. First one will be demand, supply and their determinants. Now usually when there is more demand, the price will also increase. Okay, so that's what they're given. Higher the demand, higher would be the price, and vice versa. Vice versa means the other way around. If the demand is low, the price will also go low. Now you can see them in the fruits, seasonal fruits. Now it's a mango season. Summer, spring, summer, for us it's all mango season. Okay, now in this season the demand for mangoes is very high. So starting part of the season, starting few days, you can see the mango having a reasonable price. As in when you go to the mid of the month, the mango prices will be very high, because the demand is more for the seasonal fruit. And towards the end of the season, or when we enter into the next season, then the price of the mangoes come down, because the demand would have come down. Okay, you can see that even with other vegetables or other products also. Now in Christmas time there is lot of demand for Christmas tree decorations, and that star with light. All this has more of demand during those Christmas times. So many of them will buy, use and store it. But few of them are there, they buy, use, they throw it away, again next year they buy a new one. So there is always a demand for buying the products. So that is the major demand and supply of the product. Now if there is no supply of products, again demand will increase. Okay, now for example, in between the onion prices went on too high. The onion prices reached somewhere around 200-250 rupees per kg. Why? Because there was no supply. The supply was stuck somewhere and there was no supply. It did not happen at all. The supply did not happen at all. So, and what happened? Price increased. Now there is a connectivity. Since price increased, the demand came down. Because if it was too much, if you had to pay too high for the product, then demand also will come down. So that is called inverse relationship of demand here. Okay, this is the direct relationship, that is the inverse relationship. And other determinants is how the country is working and all that you will have to look around. So the first factor is demand supply of the product, how company is dealing with demand and supply. Now in present situation, if you consider demand and supply, both supply is very less but demand is more for the essentials. Many families are not able to get essentials only. So that in that case demand is more, supply is less. But since it's a situation of COVID-19 and many people does not have money to pay, so that price will not play a major role. Okay, but in normal market, a price is very important. Then elasticity of demand and supply. Higher prices are charged for those goods having inelastic demand and vice versa. Then similarly, if supply is elastic, lower prices are charged, and if the supply is inelastic, higher prices are charged. So if supply is there all the time, okay, supply is there all the time, then no problem, they will only give some reasonable amount and they'll say okay, go on and just take the product, because if you don't buy, if you don't sell the product, there is always another uh, product or other store which is selling the product, if there is no one. So that is why if the supply is elastic means we get the product throughout the year. In such case, I will reduce my price. But if I don't get the product, then I will make sure I earn enough profit by keeping the product at a higher prices. So that is what is the elasticity of demand. If there is continuous supply of product, I sell it at a lower reasonable price. If there is no supply of product, whatever product is remaining with me, I sell that at higher price and make enough profit. Okay, so that is elasticity of demand. Did you all understand the first 2 points? Any doubt in first 2 points? You will have to write these explanations in the examination, so listen carefully and understand them so you can write the answers on your own with the actual jargons used. Okay, the next is degree of competition in the market. Now, if there is only one company selling the product, they will be the monopoly. Monopoly means only one player in the market. If there are only one player in the market, then they can keep the price in whatever range they want. Any price they can keep. There's no problem. This happened with Paytm when they came into the market. Now, when Paytm was there was all this phone pay and all was not introduced yet. Neither was UPI or BMAP there. So Paytm introduced easy online paymenting. Now, once they introduced, there were only people or only company who was going with such app-based payments. Okay, the other banks, they had mobile banking, but that was different. So Paytm kind of apps was the first time. So what Paytm did was, it told first, okay, now you can use Paytm for free everywhere. Just download the app and link your bank accounts. You can use the Paytm anywhere in the store. And they started issuing lot of QR codes to the store. So everybody started using Paytm. Went on very well. Paytm was at profit. They loved their business now. Now, Paytm became a little greedy. So, what they did was, Paytm told, now for all the business accounts, we are going to charge 1 to 2%. Okay, so when you make a transaction, okay, when you go and buy, let's say for example, you go to a supermarket, you buy products worth 500 rupees. You pay 500 rupees and come. For you, it doesn't matter. But that supermarket person, he will not receive complete 500. Okay, he is gonna receive 450 something or 400 something he will receive, because that 1% or 2% of the amount you have paid will be cut as bank charges or Paytm charges. That was the rule. So at that time, what happened? All the shops slowly started reducing the Paytm. They told, okay, if you have cash, please pay cash directly. That was what they wanted to say. So that is the monopoly. Now, after some time, you have Phone Pay, which came into the picture. Google Pay came up. Then you have Beam app, that UPI ID. All sorts of wallets started coming. Now, Paytm was not only the one company. So now Paytm cannot play like this with charging more amount or more percentages. It has to get along with the other companies and maintain a reasonable way or reasonable amount as service charges. So that is degree of competition in the market. You have to see if you are the only player or if you have many other people who are selling the same product. If there are no people selling the same product, then you can put it at a high price and you can always make profit. That is monopoly. But if you have more other companies already working, then you will have to keep a reasonable price or the lower price in the market. Then size of the market. Now size of the market, if you take whole of India, it is such a huge market. How to know if it's a huge market? We have students, kindly mute yourself. Okay, now India has so much of population. Okay, this population, they are supposed to make sure every person or every citizen or every people in India is given the product.
Ma'am,
Now, size of the market. Uh, am I dealing with a very small state or am I dealing with a very big state or very big market where there is more demand for my product? That defines the size of the market. So these are first few external factors. Now let's continue and understand few more. Goodwill, name, fame and reputation of the company. Now if you see certain brands like as they've given us the examples here, Reebok, Titan, Arrow, now these have good name in the market. Okay, so they would always prefer to go to the showroom and buy the product. Now how do people know about these brands? It is by their goodwill. So goodwill is that name that they have made in the market. So how much of the name and fame that they have achieved in the market, that will decide them for the more sales also. So that is the next point. Next, trends in the market. Trends are how the market is going on or working at the present scenario. Sometimes you will have very less negative trend. Okay, negative trend means there is people are not buying the products at all. Maybe they don't have money or the product is uh, priced at a very higher uh, amount. Okay, very higher amount. So you have to see if you have a positive trend or a negative trend. Okay, if there is positive trend, then in that case higher price should be charged. And if you'll have to charge a lower price if there is a falling trend. If no one is buying your product, then at least reduce the price so that somebody will buy the product at, at the end of the day. So that is trends in market. Next, purchasing power of buyers. Do I have enough money in hand to go and buy the product? That is purchasing power of buyers. Can I afford to pay 50 rupees to a hotel and eat masala dosa? Where your masala dosas were somewhere around 20 rupees before, way back, not now, way back. So the if you see today's trend, all the prices, the amount has been or the price, all the products, the price have been increased. So that is purchasing power of buyers. Bargaining power of customers. So do I have enough capacity to bargain? Now we Indians are very expert in bargaining in the market. So we always make sure we bargain at least for our satisfaction. It's not that we have to bargain for somebody else. It's for our satisfaction. We bargain and make sure we get at least 1 rupee or 2 rupee less than the actual price. Okay, so that is bargaining power. Okay, here what happens, price should be charged in such a way that even if the customers bargain, I am on a profit side. Okay, if they ask you 1 kg of tomato and you say 100 rupees immediately, okay, they'll start bargaining. They will say, I will only give 50 rupees, I'll only give 30 rupees. Even if they pay you 20, 30 rupees, you should be on a profit side. Okay, so that is bargaining power of customers, where we will also give our uh, product for them. Then buyers behavior in respect of particular product. Once they see the product, how do they think about the product? Now, in this lockdown, you would be missing out all the outside food. Now, even if you see some of something delicious, some photo of a delicious food also, you would think, okay, I was going out and having some delicious food. So you have that picture in your mind of delicious food or street food. If I say street food, immediately what comes to your mind? That is your preferences and desires. So if those preferences are strong, the companies can always sell any type of product to the buyer. So how do you behave when you see a particular product? So that is what is covered in this point. Next, availability of substitutes and complements. Now here, yesterday I explained what are substitutes and complements. So substitutes are which, if you don't have one product, you can use the other product. So those are substitutes. For example, if you don't find coffee to drink, you can opt for tea, or you can opt for badam milk or boost, or any bonvita or something like that. So you have substitutes. So you always have options to choose from. When it comes to complements, it is like without one product, the other product is not there. So it's like pen and the refill. Now pen does not work without the refill. Okay, that ink, pen and ink, what you are supposed to use in writing. Otherwise, you can take this example of bike and petrol. Now, without petrol, you cannot ride the bike or the car. Okay, so those are complement products. So, in such substitute and complement products, also, you will have to make sure your prices are little lower, so that especially in substitute products, prices are little lower, so whoever comes first to the market will buy the product. Okay, in the market it's always first come first serve basis. So if you enter with the product, let's take for example brew coffee. Now brew coffee came first into the market, all the customers started using brew coffee. Now later sunrise came, few of them shifted to sunrise. Then you have some continental coffee, then again from that few customers will drink continental coffee, or many of them will opt for other brands of coffee. So these were few instant coffee brands. So first who comes into the market, they will get the place. And the next point is competitors pricing policy. You should not only see how much or what rate you are selling, you should also check your competitor. If brew is selling, let's say 1 kg of brew, the small packet, no, let's not go for the 1 kg, the small packet of brew is 5 rupees. Now you can see sunrise also selling at 5 rupees, you can see continental coffee also selling at 5 rupees. So they want to keep the products at a very similar price, which will help them in taking lot of the market share. The many customers love to come and try many variety of products, because everything is at same price. Sometimes sunrise will come out and give offers. We have 10 rupees packet, but we are giving more quantity. Okay, you have the Santur soap, buy 2 get 3, buy 4 get 2. These are extra offers that are given, so people will be able to buy our product more than the other products. Okay, so these are the points for external factors. So how the outside will factors will be affecting us. So any doubts in external factors, they can ask a 6 marks question only for external factors. The question can be, explain the external factors influencing the retail pricing. This chapter includes more number of 14 marks and 6 marks questions. So concentrate and learn it better. Any doubts in external factors? So let's go to few of the internal factors. Now, internal factors are what is being there inside the firm. Okay, whatever firm does, that will be considered under internal factors. So first is objectives of the firm. So what are the major objectives or intention that the firm was started with? Now every firm want to get profit. None of the firms would work on charity, or they do not want to give away the products. So first thing is wealth maximization. They want to increase, or they want to improve their company on a whole basis. Then business expansion. It is not one product. It is not one way that they will do. So they want to make have a lot of amalgamation and mergers with other business to make sure their business also expands and they also get more profit. So profit is the first objective. See, if you see here, the profit maximization is the sole objective or the first objective. Apart from that, they will increase their wealth. Maybe they have more buildings, they have more manufacturing plants, they have more warehousing or go downs. All that are wealth maximization. Then business expansion, joining hands with other companies, or they themselves starting many other branches. Then market share. Market share we already discussed, how much customers prefer them and how good are they at selling their product. So if they consider objectives of the firm, they have to work towards it. So keeping all this in mind, they would charge a little lower price, but reasonable. Lower means not too low. Okay, so that is first point. Next, you have production cost. So for every product, there is some production cost involved. So first thing, you will have to you require raw material to produce any product. Now that raw material, you should pay money to get the raw material. You should pay money for getting the machines. If your company has been started in a rented place, you have to pay rent. Then you have to pay electricity bill, water bill, and the security guard salary, employee salary. You have so much of overheads. So all that, percentage of all that will be added to the production cost. So whatever you see as MRP, that includes all of this cost in that. Okay, so next, quality of the product and its characteristics. Now how good the product is. If your product can be used for longer period of time, or is your product used within certain days, something like your dairy products, if you take this paneer, cheese and milk, curd and all, you will have to use it within 1 or 2 days. If you keep the dairy products for too long period of time, it will not be consumable because they are perishable products. Now for such products, you have to decide on the little lower price, because their life is less and it is used on daily basis. Okay, and there are certain other products. Let's say for example, we have got a wooden sofa. Now wooden sofa, it's just made out of wood, nicely polished with good design. Now such durable products, now that wooden sofa, after 1 year it should not break down. Okay, you should be in a situation to use wooden sofa for many number of years. So that defines the quality of the product. Then scale of production. Are we producing the product in bulk, or are we customizing and producing the product one after the other. Okay, if we had visited the TVS plant, we saw how they manufacture, or how the procedure of the manufacturing goes on there. So one side we had the engine was fixed, the other side the engine was manufactured, the outer body, the coating of it, and then you had the assembly team working on it. Okay, production team was the other side, assembly team was in the other, towards the other end. And then you had the testing team. So the testing team had to take it on a test drive to check if there was any fault in the vehicle. So in such big companies, the production happens on a large scale basis only in that places. Okay, when they do the production on large scale basis, they can reduce the price, because they would be incurring less price also. So that is scale of production. Then efficient management of resources. With whatever resources you have in hand, you should be able to get the work done. So that is efficient management. You should not waste anything, any sort of raw material or electricity that you are using, or the employees that are working. Do not exploit anybody, do not exploit anybody or anything, but make sure you use them properly. And you can save a lot of money here, which will also help us to keep the price for lower, in the lower level, which will help us to get more profit. So that is efficient management of resources. Okay, did you all understand the first 5 points? Anybody has doubt in this? Okay. So let's just finish this internal factors. I'll just take another 2 minutes to finish this off. So there are few more points under internal factors. So the first five were these: objectives of the firm, production cost, quality of the product and characteristics, scale of production, efficient management of resources. Now the next point is policy towards payment of wages, percentage of profit, and dividend distribution. Now not only the rules for the employees has to be laid up in coming to the office and going back home, or how the work has to be done, but there are also many rules or policies which are framed for the company themselves. Okay, all these rules are made for the companies to follow by themselves in the terms of payment of wages and percentage of profits, and how much money has to be given out as dividends. Now when the company, for example the same Surf Excel, when the Surf Excel sells enough products and gain profit, they should and when they make profit, that profit will be divided into two parts. The first part will will be kept aside for dividend. Dividend is paid for the shareholders. Okay, these dividends has to reach the shareholders every year. The next part of the profit is retained back in the company for further investment in the business. They wanted to buy raw materials, or they wanted to improve their business, increase their business, expand their business. For all of this, they retain certain profits. So that is one part. The other part is being distributed as dividends to the shareholders. So those are the rules which had to be followed even when you're deciding the prices, because in that price, a part of the price also has dividend to be distributed, our profits for the company, and employees also should be paid the salaries or wages. Then advertising and sales promotion policies. You will see advertisements of Amul milk, ice cream, and chocolate, or you will see LIC advertisements. You have many other products which where they keep advertising, including your Flipkart. You have Amazon also advertising few times, cars, automobiles, two wheelers. Now, all that advertisement expenses, certain percentage of them will be put into the products also. Okay, if you are paying 10 rupees for that brew packet, the 10 rupees consists of all of this percentage of prices in that. So advertising and sales promotion rules, which are framed and which are followed, those percentages of expenses which we incur will be added to the price of the product. Then the stage of product on the product life cycle. Now we have learned product life cycle, starting from the first introduction stage, then they have growth, then maturity, and then decline. So if our product is in the introduction stage, then we'll have to either start with a very low price. When we go to the growth, we will gradually increase price, and when we are at a stable or maturity stage, we maintain one reasonable price. When it is declining, again we reduce the prices. So uh, according to where the product is on the product life cycle, we will decide on the prices. Usage of product, how much usage has been done by customers on daily basis. So that is usage of product. If our product is very essential, which is used every day, then in that case we would not increase the price too much. We will make sure that we have the price at a lower level so everybody can use it. If our product is rarely used, something like purchase of gold, diamond, silver ornaments, now all these are not purchased every time. They are used on daily basis, but they are not purchased every day. So such products you can still keep it at a higher price, and you can make profits. Then the last point, extent of the distinctiveness of the product and extent of product differentiation. Now I gave so much examples of different powders, detergent powders. So Surf Excel, Wheel, Tide, Ariel, then you have Nirma, okay, Rin. So we have so many products. How do we differentiate between all these products? Why people prefer one particular brand? Okay, why people prefer one particular product for uh, no that stream or that industry? So that is the highlight of the product. Now why people love only Surf Excel, or why few of them like to buy only Tide? Because they would like the quality of the product, the cost of the product is also reasonable for their budget. Okay, it depends on personal choices again. So how different is your product to stand with? Now why do students love Gourmet chocolate so much? First thing, it is reasonable for you to buy, which comes to your budget. The other thing, you would like the flavor of it. Now you're getting so many flavors. Okay, you would also like the flavor of it, and it is easy to uh, it is refreshing for the minds of the students, or for that age group. So that product stands out of the other chocolates. So that has to be considered again while you're pricing. Okay, did you all understand the next topics? These are the other points of internal factors. Again, a 6 marks question separately can be asked. Internal factors for pricing, retail pricing. Internal factors of retail pricing. Both together can be asked for 14 marks, which has been repeated in your examination more than 2 times, 2 to 3 times. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, students. We'll stop the class here for today.